The Last Berserker, Chapter 1, Salvage and Awakening. The rhythmic hum of the Stardust Symphony filled the air, a familiar lullaby to its crew. Beyond the viewport, Lumina, their homeworld, pulsed with a soft, bioluminescent glow, a tapestry of vibrant colors painting the cosmos. The ship's mission was simple: explore, learn, and expand the Lumina's understanding of the universe. "Captain," chirped a young Lumina scientist named Lumi, his antennae twitching with excitement. "Sensors indicate an unknown object drifting towards us. Metallic, large." Captain Ilya, a seasoned Lumina with gentle bioluminescent markings, floated towards the viewport. Her eyes, large and luminous, focused on the anomaly. "Magnify." The image sharpened, revealing a massive, battered starship. Human, from the ancient Terran archives. A gasp rippled through the bridge. "It's an Odyssey-class vessel," Ilya whispered. "A relic from Earth's final war." Intrigue bubbled up in Lumi. "Perhaps there are survivors." Ilya's expression was a mix of hope and caution. "Ready the boarding party. Proceed with caution. We know little of humans and their ways." The boarding party, led by Ilya and Lumi, entered the derelict vessel. The air was stale, the silence oppressive. Rusting corridors led them deeper into the ship's cold heart, where they discovered a single cryopod still active. Inside, a figure lay suspended, clad in battle-worn armor. "A human," Ilya breathed, her voice barely a whisper. "Should we awaken him?" Lumi asked, his antennae quivering with anticipation. Ilya paused, considering the potential risks. But the chance to connect with a piece of Earth's history, to perhaps gain knowledge lost to time, was too tempting. "Yes," she decided, "we awaken him." The process was slow and delicate. As the cryopod hissed open, revealing a figure with broad shoulders and close-cropped dark hair, the air grew thick with anticipation. Ronan Blackwood gasped, his eyes snapping open. His gaze, fierce and disoriented, darted around the room, taking in the Lumina with a mix of confusion and suspicion. "Who?" he rasped, his voice rough from disuse. "Greetings," Ilya said, her voice soft and melodic. "We are the Lumina. We found your vessel adrift in space. You were in cryogenic stasis." Ronan blinked, processing the information. "Humans. Extinct. War. Lost." The words came out in fragments, each one a shard of a shattered past. "Earth is no more," Ilya confirmed gently, "but you are safe now, among the Lumina." Ronan slowly sat up, his eyes never leaving the Lumina. He flexed his hands, feeling the strength still coursing through his genetically enhanced body. "Safe?" he echoed. "From what?" His question hung in the air, a stark reminder of the warrior he was, of the battles fought and lost. A sense of unease settled over the Lumina, a premonition of the turmoil to come. Ilya extended a hand, her bioluminescent markings glowing softly. "From war, from pain. We seek harmony and understanding. You are welcome here, Commander Blackwood." Ronan hesitated, then cautiously took her hand. It felt warm and soft, a stark contrast to the cold metal of his armor. He allowed the Lumina to help him out of the pod, his movements stiff and unfamiliar after centuries of slumber. Lumi hovered around, his curiosity bubbling over. "Commander, what is it like, being human?" Ronan looked at Lumi, a flicker of amusement in his eyes. "It's complicated," he said, his voice gruff but not unkind. "We are capable of great destruction, but also great compassion." "Destruction," Lumi echoed, tilting his head. "We have no concept of that here on Lumina." Ronan's gaze drifted to the viewport, to the peaceful Lumina landscape. "You are fortunate," he murmured, "very fortunate." As the Lumina led Ronan through the ship, they explained their mission of exploration and discovery. Ronan listened intently, his mind slowly adjusting to this new reality. He was a relic of a lost past, a warrior awakened in a world of peace. He didn't know if he belonged here, but for the first time in centuries, a sliver of hope flickered within him. Perhaps among the Lumina, he could finally find the peace he had been denied for so long. Chapter 2. The Wraith's Fury. The gentle chirping of Lumina's native birdsong filtered through Ronan's quarters, but it offered little comfort. He sat on the edge of the low, moss-covered bed, the unfamiliar softness a stark contrast to the hard bunks of his military past. Moonlight bathed the room in a soft glow, casting long shadows that danced with the flicker of bioluminescent vines. Sleep evaded him. Visions of war-torn earth, burning cities, and the screams of the dying played on repeat in his mind. Sweat beaded on his brow as he gripped the edges of the bed, his knuckles white. A low growl rumbled in his throat, a primal sound he struggled to suppress. A soft chime echoed through the room. "Ronan!" Alara's voice, melodic and soothing, seeped through the door. "May I enter?" Ronan hesitated, then nodded, though he knew she couldn't see him. The door slid open, revealing Alara, her eyes filled with concern. "Another nightmare?" she asked gently. Ronan nodded again, his voice raspy. "Always the same. Fire, blood, screams." Alara moved closer, her footsteps silent on the soft floor. She sat beside him, her presence radiating warmth and tranquility. "The past can be a heavy burden," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "But you are not alone. We are here for you." Ronan looked at her, a flicker of vulnerability in his eyes. "I don't belong here," he muttered. "I'm a weapon, not a being of peace." Alara reached out, her hand hovering over his clenched fist. "You are more than your past, Ronan. You are capable of great things." The air crackled with tension as Ronan's breath hitched. His heart pounded in his chest, the berserker rage bubbling beneath the surface. Suddenly, a loud bang echoed from the corridor, a maintenance drone malfunctioning. Ronan jolted, his eyes widening. A feral snarl escaped his lips as he leaped to his feet, his muscles coiling with primal energy. Alara backed away, alarm flashing in her eyes. "Ronan, calm yourself. It is just a sound." But the rage had taken hold. Ronan's vision blurred, the room warping and twisting. The gentle chirping of the birds became a cacophony of screams, the soft light a blinding inferno. He lunged forward, his hands grasping for a weapon that wasn't there. Alara dodged his wild swing, her movements graceful and swift. "Ronan!" she cried, her voice ringing with a strange, calming resonance. "Focus! Remember who you are!" Her words penetrated the fog of rage, anchoring him to the present. The room slowly came back into focus, the screams fading into the background. Ronan stumbled back, his breath coming in ragged gasps. Shame washed over him as he saw the fear in Alara's eyes. I can't control it," he choked out, his voice thick with despair. Alara approached him cautiously, her hand extended once more. "You can," she said firmly, "but it will take time, and it will take trust. Trust in yourself and trust in us." Ronan looked at her, his gaze searching for a glimmer of hope. He took her hand, the warmth seeping into his cold skin, a tiny beacon in the darkness of his soul. Perhaps with the Lumina's help, he could learn to tame the beast within, to find a way to reconcile his past with his present, and to forge a new path for himself in this unfamiliar world of peace. Chapter 3. The Voidstalker's Beckoning. The Lumina's tranquil rhythm was broken by an ominous hum that resonated through the air. The bioluminescent flora dimmed, their vibrant hues flickering nervously. A chill swept through the air, unseen but palpable. In the tranquil gardens of Lumina, Ronan sat cross-legged beside Alara. The elder Lumina's antenna twitched, her luminous eyes clouded with concern. "The harmony is disrupted," she murmured, her voice a gentle symphony. "Something dark approaches." Ronan's head snapped up, his nostrils flaring as he caught a faint scent of ozone. The hairs on the back of his neck prickled, an instinctive warning ingrained in his warrior's soul. "What is it?" he asked, his voice low and tense. Alara closed her eyes, her senses reaching out into the ethereal plane. "An energy signature," she whispered. "Chaotic, predatory, feeding on fear and anger." Ronan's heart pounded against his ribs, his fists clenched, his knuckles turning white. The familiar warmth of his berserker rage began to simmer beneath his skin. "Voidstalkers," he growled, the ancient Terran term for the energy parasites a chilling echo from his past. Alara's eyes snapped open, her gaze locking with Ronan's. "Yes," she confirmed, her voice laced with apprehension. "Drawn to your inner turmoil." Guilt washed over Ronan. "It's my fault," he rasped. "My rage. It's a beacon for them." Alara placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. "Your emotions are powerful, Ronan, but they are not your enemy. You must learn to control them, to channel them." Her words were a lifeline, a glimmer of hope in the encroaching darkness. Ronan closed his eyes, taking a deep breath. He visualized his rage as a swirling vortex of energy, then focused on taming its chaotic dance. But it was too late. The first wave of Voidstalkers descended upon Lumina, their spectral forms flickering in and out of sight, their whispers echoing through the minds of the Lumina, sowing seeds of fear and discord. The bioluminescent gardens dimmed further, their light swallowed by the encroaching shadows. Ronan's control snapped, his rage surged, a tidal wave of fury that erupted from his core. He roared, his voice a primal challenge, as his body ignited with a blinding golden light. He lunged at the Voidstalkers, his fists crackling with energy, his every blow a thunderclap. He fought like a demon, a whirlwind of destruction tearing through the spectral horde. But his rage was a double-edged sword. With every strike, he felt his humanity slipping away, replaced by a primal, all-consuming fury. He was becoming the very thing he sought to destroy. The battle raged, a chaotic dance of light and shadow. Lumina trembled under the strain, its once peaceful harmony shattered. Ronan's heart ached with every blow, every cry of fear from the Lumina. He was their protector, their guardian, but he was also their destroyer. As the last Voidstalker dissipated into nothingness, Ronan collapsed, the light fading from his eyes. He lay on the scorched earth, his breath coming in ragged gasps, his body trembling with exhaustion and shame. Elara knelt beside him, her voice gentle and forgiving. "You fought bravely," she said, "but your rage, it is a dangerous weapon." Ronan looked up at her, his eyes filled with self-loathing. "I'm a monster," he croaked. "I'm no better than the things I destroyed." Elara shook her head, her antennae drooping with sadness. "No, Ronan, you are not a monster. You are lost, but you are not beyond redemption. But you must learn to control your rage, or it will consume you." Ronan's heart sank. He had failed. He had hurt the Lumina, the only beings who had shown him kindness in centuries. He had become the very thing he swore to protect them from. He closed his eyes, the weight of his guilt crushing him. Chapter 4. A Warrior's Reckoning. The air hung heavy in the secluded grove, thick with the scent of damp earth and blooming starflowers. Ronan sat cross-legged beneath a towering, luminescent tree, its soft glow painting his face in hues of blue and green. Days had passed since the Voidstalker attack, days spent in solitude, wrestling with guilt and shame. He traced the intricate patterns on his armor, a relic of a life he no longer recognized. The weight of his actions pressed down on him, a suffocating blanket of despair. He was a broken weapon, a danger to himself and others. A rustle of leaves broke the silence. Ronan looked up to see Elara emerging from the shadows, her antenna drooping with concern. "Ronan," she said softly, "may I join you?" He nodded silently, unable to meet her gaze. Elara settled beside him, the grass rustling beneath her weight. A comfortable silence settled between them, broken only by the gentle chirping of insects. "I feel their pain," Ronan finally confessed, his voice barely a whisper. "The Lumina. I hurt them. I'm a danger to them." Elara reached out, placing a comforting hand on his arm. "You are not alone in your pain, Ronan. The Voidstalkers feed on our emotions, our fears, our anger. Your rage, it drew them here." Ronan's head snapped up, his eyes wide with surprise. "What do you mean?" Elara took a deep breath, her voice barely audible. "The Voidstalkers are drawn to strong emotions, especially anger and fear. Your Berserker rage, it's a beacon for them. It amplifies their power, making them stronger." Ronan recoiled as if struck. "So, it's my fault? I'm the reason they attacked Lumina?" "Not entirely," Elara said gently. "But your rage is a part of the equation. It is a powerful tool, but like any tool, it can be used for good or for ill. The Voidstalkers seek to twist it into a weapon of destruction. But you can choose a different path." A flicker of hope ignited in Ronan's eyes. "How?" he asked, his voice desperate. "Through control," Elara replied. "Through understanding. Your rage is not your enemy, Ronan. It is a part of you, a source of immense power. But you must learn to master it, to channel it." Elara began to teach Ronan the ancient Lumina art of meditation, guiding him through breathing exercises and visualizations. He learned to identify the triggers for his rage, to recognize the signs of its approach, and to redirect its energy. Days turned into weeks as Ronan immersed himself in the Lumina teachings. Slowly, the raw, untamed fury within him began to subside, replaced by a sense of calm and focus. He learned to harness his rage, transforming it into a radiant energy shield that shimmered around him, a beacon of protection against the Voidstalkers. One day, as Ronan practiced his newfound control, a faint whisper echoed in his mind, a chilling reminder of the lurking threat. The Voidstalkers were still out there, waiting, watching. But Ronan was no longer afraid. He was ready. He would not allow his rage to be a weapon of destruction again. He would use it to protect his new home, his new family. The Lumina had shown him the path to redemption, and he would not falter. Chapter 5. A Glimmer of Hope. A symphony of alarm calls echoed across Lumina, a haunting melody carried on the wind. The once vibrant sky was now painted with streaks of ethereal purple as the Voidstalkers returned, their malevolent energy casting a shadow over the land. Ronan stood at the forefront of the Lumina defense, his stance unwavering, his eyes fixed on the horizon. Gone was the wild-eyed Berserker, replaced by a warrior tempered by discipline and purpose. His armor, once a symbol of his destructive past, now gleamed with a radiant energy, a testament to his newfound control. "Remember your training, Ronan," Alara's voice echoed in his mind, a calming presence amidst the chaos. "Channel your rage, but do not let it consume you." Ronan nodded, his grip tightening on the hilt of his energy blade. He could feel the familiar warmth of his rage building within him, but now it was a controlled burn, a focused flame. The Voidstalkers surged forward, their spectral forms writhing and twisting, their whispers filling the air with promises of fear and despair. Ronan met their advance with a resolute heart, his blade igniting with a blinding golden light. He moved with the grace of a dancer, each step precise, each strike deliberate. His energy blade sliced through the Voidstalkers, their forms dissolving into wisps of smoke with each blow. The Lumina fought beside him, their own abilities amplified by Ronan's radiant presence. The battle raged for hours, a symphony of light and darkness, hope and despair. Ronan's body pulsed with energy, his movements becoming more fluid, his strikes more powerful. But with each surge of power, he felt a change within himself, a strange lightness, a blurring of the lines between his physical form and the energy he wielded. As the last Voidstalker dissipated into nothingness, Ronan staggered, his knees buckling beneath him. The Lumina cheered, their voices raised in triumphant song, but Ronan could barely hear them. His vision swam, his body tingling with an unfamiliar sensation. He looked down at his hands, watching in horror as they flickered, translucent, the lines between flesh and energy dissolving. Panic surged within him. "Ilara," he rasped, his voice barely a whisper. "What's happening to me?" Ilara rushed to his side, her eyes wide with concern. "The energy, it's changing you," she said softly. "You've wielded too much power for too long." Ronan's heart sank. He had feared this. He was losing his humanity, becoming something other. "Am I becoming a Voidstalker?" he asked, his voice filled with dread. Ilara shook her head. "No, Ronan, you are not a parasite. You are evolving. Your human form is merging with the energy you wield." Ronan closed his eyes, his mind reeling. He had always been a weapon, a tool of war. Now he was becoming something even more alien, something he didn't understand. Ilara placed a comforting hand on his arm. "Do not fear, Ronan. This is not the end. It is a new beginning." Ronan opened his eyes, meeting her gaze. He saw not pity, but acceptance, a deep understanding that transcended species and form. A glimmer of hope flickered within him, a tiny spark in the vast expanse of his uncertainty. Perhaps Ilara was right. Perhaps this wasn't the end, but a transformation, a chance to become something more than just a weapon, more than just a human. He had saved Lumina, but at what cost? He was no longer the man he once was, but maybe, just maybe, that was okay. Chapter 6, The Requiem's Echo. The warm sunlight filtered through the leaves of the luminescent trees, casting dappled patterns on the forest floor. Ronan stood at the edge of the clearing, his form shimmering with an ethereal glow. He was no longer the hulking soldier in battle-scarred armor. Instead, he was a radiant silhouette, his human outline barely visible beneath a cloak of pure energy. He watched a group of Lumina children playing nearby, their laughter like a gentle chime in the air. They chased after glowing butterflies, their faces lit up with innocent joy. A warmth spread through Ronan, a feeling he hadn't known since before the war. He was a part of this now, a part of this world of light and laughter. Ilara approached him, her footsteps silent on the soft moss. "You seem at peace," she observed, her voice a gentle melody. Ronan nodded, his gaze still fixed on the children. "I have found my purpose," he said, his voice resonating with a newfound calmness. "I am a protector, a guardian of this world." Ilara smiled, her antennae twitching with happiness. "You have embraced your transformation," she said. "You have become one with Lumina." Ronan turned to face her, his form radiating a soft golden light. "I am both human and Lumina," he said, "a testament to the harmony between our two worlds." The Lumina had accepted him, despite his alien form, despite the destructive power that coursed through his veins. They saw the good in him, the potential for light amidst the darkness. Their unwavering faith in him had given him the strength to confront his demons, to tame his rage, and to find a new purpose. "I am the Requiem's echo," he declared, his voice echoing with determination. "A beacon of light and hope, a guardian of peace." The children stopped their play, drawn by Ronan's radiant presence. They gathered around him, their wide eyes filled with wonder and awe. Ronan knelt down, his energy form softening, his warmth enveloping the children like a comforting embrace. He began to sing, his voice a low hum that resonated with the very essence of Lumina. It was a song of loss and pain, of war and destruction. But it was also a song of hope, of resilience, of the enduring spirit of life. The children listened, their faces rapt with attention. Their eyes shimmered with tears, not of sadness, but of understanding. They saw the pain in Ronan's past, the sacrifices he had made, the battles he had fought. But they also saw the strength, the compassion, the unwavering determination to protect those he cared for. As Ronan finished the song, a hush fell over the clearing. The only sound was the gentle rustling of leaves and the soft chirping of insects. The Lumina children reached out, their tiny hands touching Ronan's radiant form. They felt the warmth, the love, the unwavering protection that emanated from him. Ronan looked at them, his heart swelling with a feeling he had never known before. He was home. He had found his place in the universe, not as a weapon of war, but as a beacon of hope, a guardian of light. He stood tall, his energy form shimmering against the setting sun. The Requiem's echo, a testament to the enduring spirit of humanity, a symbol of the unity between two worlds, a guardian of peace for all eternity.